Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Friday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com. In the pre market this morning, stock index futures are slightly below fair value. We also have the price of gold down slightly on Friday morning. Now, this is the last trading day of the month. The end of the month usually has a bullish bias to it. A bullish bias does not guarantee success. It can often help dampen any downward pressure that you might see in the market at month end. But if you go back and look at the history of the stock market, you won't see any major stock market crashes at the month end. Now, looking at the news this morning, we're expecting some inflation numbers to come out at 8:30. That could certainly help change the direction of the market on a short-term basis. Now, on Friday mornings, I like to run off some weekly charts just to see how the market is doing so far. And to sum up this week, it's an inside week for the overall stock market. Now, we'll start off with the VIX. The VIX is down on the week. That's supportive for higher stock prices, but we're having an inside week. So an inside week is a week of indecision. It's a pause week. That can be said for the Dow, for the S&P 500, not necessarily for the Nasdaq. And then, of course, the Nasdaq has gotten some help from some big cap tech stocks, which do not appear in the Russell 2000, having an inside week. On the other hand, the TSX has made a new all-time high this week, not really being helped by the commodity sector, whether you're looking at energy stocks or gold stocks. Now, the price of gold is down over $50 on the week. It is continuing to move lower in the pre-market on Friday morning. And we're also seeing crude oil down on the week, but it's up slightly on Friday, so it may actually end the week unchanged. Now, yesterday was all about NVIDIA, and we were looking at the Magnificent 7 ETF and trying to get it to break away from the 5313 level. We certainly opened up above that level, but came back down and actually closed below it. So we are still stuck to 5313. We were hoping to break away from it so we could head towards 5625, but that hasn't happened. Now, the last 2 days have been bearish reversal days. They have not been significant bearish reversal days. And what I mean by that is, even though the market was tilted, in which buyers at the open were much more enthusiastic than buyers at the close, we did not close below the previous day's low. And so that's the first thing I always look at. So, yes, we had two bearish reversal signals in a row, but they're fairly weak signals at this time. That, of course, could change. Now, we had a new high for this move for NVIDIA. And again, we saw the buyers at the open much more enthusiastic than the buyers at the close. And we did trade above the 137.50 level. The low of the day was 137.91. So we're trying to break away from that level, heading towards 150. But unfortunately, yesterday was a bearish reversal day. So again, not a weak bearish reversal day. We certainly did not close below the previous day's low, but the buyers at the open were much more enthusiastic than the buyers at the close. And that is very important. Remember, the public only has an effect on the stock market at the open. They certainly are not involved in how the stock closes at the end of the day. Now, looking at the VIX for the Nasdaq is still on a sell signal. That's supportive for higher stock prices on a short-term basis. We're still waiting for the S&P 500 and for the Russell 2000 VIX to generate sell signals. Remember, we had this nice big move down. That was a great move for the stock market. Then we've had a little tension over the past week, and that has put some downward pressure on the stock market. And now what we're hoping is that we come back down and start a new sell signal and a new trend to the downside, which will help the stock market move higher. Now, earlier in the presentation, we looked at some weekly charts, and we saw that for the VIX, for the Dow, for the S&P 500, for the Russell 2000, they're all having inside weeks or weeks of indecision. So from looking at those charts, you would say that there's not really a lot going on in the market this week. And as we go through the most actively traded stocks that we looked at the other day, it's hard to find any new trend changes. So we'll just go through these very quickly. These are the most actively traded stocks on the TSX that we looked at the other day. And I'm looking for new trend changes here or any significant moves in the market. And we've got to go down to Denison Mines. And Denison did something unique this week. Typically, we're looking for bullish and bearish reversal signals. but we had a bearish double top here, and double tops are often bearish. Double bottoms, which we had back here, are often bullish. That one did not work out, but this one may be working out. And then the Royal Bank actually rolled over and generated a sell signal based on last night's close. And that is rather unusual, as some of the other bank stocks are doing very well at the moment. So the TD Bank, the Bank of Nova Scotia, is still holding up very well. Now, we looked at the railroads the other day. CP still on a buy signal here, no change there. Shopify came back on Wednesday, ended the day on a buy signal. We saw some fall through to the upside on Thursday. Then we've got Air Canada still on a buy signal, so no change in trend there. So just the Royal Bank was the only trend changes on the TSX most actives that we looked at the other day. Now, moving on to the U.S. most actives, we looked at NVIDIA earlier in the presentation. There's a reversal for Rigetti. Trading back in the channel, closing in the channel on Thursday. Small pullback for Oklo. We're still on a sell signal here, making a new low for this move for Lucid. No change in trend for Tesla. Tesla's had a couple of bearish reversal signals over the last week, and not really any major fall through to the downside. At the same time, it's telling us that the air is getting pretty thin up here. Buyers in the morning are more bullish on the stock than buyers in the afternoon. So that's not usually a good thing. Still trying to get to 375. So far, we got to 367 and change. There's a new low for this move for Ford before recovering, closing slightly higher on the day. No change in trend for Apple or for NU or for Intel. Still on sell signals. Uranium stocks got a pop the other day. Uranium Energy quickly moved up to 703, put in a bearish reversal signal, and is now starting to pull back. While uranium stocks got a pop, we saw solar stocks go in the opposite direction. And so looking at Sunrun, no change in trend, of course, whatsoever. American Airlines treading water at the moment. It ran up to the flypaper channel, and so far the flypaper channel is holding us in check. Okay, folks, that's all for this morning's presentation and Inside Week. I mean, things are quieter than normal this week. Looking for volatility to expand next week. And of course, we're expecting the VIX to rise in the month of June, and we expect downward pressure on the stock market. You have a great day. You have a great weekend. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Sunday. If you're a member, if you're not a member, and the next time you'll hear my voice is on Monday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theyuptrend.com.